There's no place for that for young people.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Big brother versus little brother tonight in Louisville. You're excited. I'm excited. I can't wait. We'll do a little Stoops quickly because I think it's important then get back into basketball. So Stoops talked about yesterday. We had it live. We have Stoops' press conference live about why he disciplined Zach. He made a mistake and move on. And then he said there's no call for these trolls. That was really strong. I buy it. I believe it. I went on a crazy rant yesterday, which surprised me that I can't stand all this crap that goes on. You lose a bet, take your loss like a man or a woman. Quit threatening people. And the Kentucky players have been trolled like schools all across the country. It is ridiculous. This guy, Garrett, who did it, apologized on Twitter. And part of his message, besides saying sorry to Zach for even putting it out there, okay, it makes me and our football program look bad as a whole. I never intended for this to be more than a lighthearted joke. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. You got to be stupid to think you're throwing something at a player and it's a lighthearted joke. Really? Really? Somebody threw this crap at you? To me, it's nice that he apologized, but his explanation, I just don't buy. I'm allowed not to believe. I don't buy it. A lighthearted joke? I would want to say bleep you. That's not a lighthearted joke. It's not. Why don't you shut your mouth and just say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. And when people say, that's not who I am, BS. If I've made a dumb mistake, that is who I am at that moment. Maybe not for all of me, but I can't stand that expression. It's BS. That is who you are. Now you need to change if you want to. You want to apologize? That's great. And he apologized. I'm the biggest Kentucky fan in the world. BS. BS. You're not the biggest Kentucky fan in the world if you're chomping at players. You're not. You're not. Jimmy, I got to tell you, this whole apology thing is just, I'm glad he apologized. But he's either delusional or lying or I'm out of my mind. Literally, or I'm out of my mind. Really? You think it's a joke to chomp on a player? Really? Should have left good enough alone. I wish the kid well. To me, that's a stupid thing on Twitter. Sorry, you don't agree, Garrett? I'm all good. You want to come on the show and tell me why you thought it was a joke? I'm all good. You can reach me. Jimmy, what's the text line if he wants to reach me?
859-280-1063.
Okay, more on Stoops later. One more time, Jimmy.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was the wrong number. 381-1313. That's the other station that I work on.
That's what. You didn't see the look I gave you. What?
381-1313 is the correct number.
Okay, I'm suspicious when a line goes, I'm not a betting expert, when a line goes from 3.5 to 6.5, boom, overnight in a rivalry, not a cupcake game, two teams ranked in the top 20, I'm just suspicious. I just am. So in about a minute, Brad Taylor, our resident betting expert, will comment on this. Brad is here. Brad, who does the show after me, and Brad does a wonderful gambling show. If you're into gambling, you don't listen to Brad, I can't help you. Plus, he does this extra thing, which is really cool, that'll put up a special podcast for about 10, 15 minutes just on his bets. Really, it's successful. Brad, I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. But, Brad, let's get down to it. One, thanks for joining me on a dime and two. What the hell is this? I mean, I'm just suspicious. When you go from 3.5 to 6.5, it's not like it's a number 19 versus the 150th team. This is nuts. So I'm suspicious. Brad Taylor, thank you. And what say you?
Thank you. And we do see that the public is all over Louisville here. Right now, the betting splits 83% of the tickets, 85% of the money is on Louisville to win and cover this point spread. But keep in mind now, we do know that it was 3 or 3.5 yesterday. Most places it was 3.5, but it opened at 4.5 and went down to 3.5. So we're only 2 points away from the opening line here. And when you have a short line in college basketball, yeah, it's only one possession. But we do see that Louisville now has gotten up to a 6.5-point favorite. It has moved 3 points in the last 24 hours. Total's gone from 168.5 to 173.5. But yes, it is kind of rare that you see a line move 3 points with 2 Power 4 teams in a non-cupcake game like this. It's something to make, we always talk about on Thursdays. It's called things that make you go, that old song from CNC Music Factory back in the day. This makes you go, It makes you wonder what's going on and why so many people have come in on Louisville, enough to move this line all the way up to 6.5. And, of course, our Lord and Savior, Ken Palm, a Lord and Savior of basketball analytics, says this is a Louisville win, but certainly not by 6.5 points. So you're getting value with Kentucky now on the analytics, but do you really not trust that line move? Because betting on sports, it's about how much basketball you know. It is a skill that involves markets, data, and systems a lot more than how much basketball you know.
Brad Taylor, do you ever wonder? I'm not trying to start something. I'm asking a question, and you're the expert. Do you ever wonder when a line changes like that, maybe the bookies, I still call them bookies. I know I'm old school. The bookies know more than we do about what's going on?
Yes, absolutely. And the kind of reference point that I use on my show that people around here will kind of remember is the Kentucky-South Carolina football game a few years ago. And early in the week, Will Levis was the quarterback, and Kentucky was a 10-point favorite on Monday. And then by Tuesday night, they were only a 4-point favorite. But we had not heard anything. The people like us, we had not heard anything about Will Levis being injured and not playing, but the Desert did. And then when Mark Stoops was confronted with it later in the week, he says, well, if Will Levis isn't going to play, we'll tell you. To this day, he still hasn't told us, but Will Levis did not play in that game. The Desert knew. So when that game kicked off, it was a 6-point line move from where it started. The Desert knows these things. We don't. There have been, is there whispers that a player for Kentucky may not be playing tonight? Maybe there are, but even if the best play, even if Owe is out tonight, it's not enough to move this line up to 6.5. This is a sharp line move, and this is the Whales and the Sharps are telling us Louisville is in the better spot here. And if you ask me, I have to agree.
By the way, unsubstantiated rumors about Owe, so let's leave it at that. I don't like to push on that at all. Is it possible it's just about the money flow?
These are sharp. I mean, squares like us, we're not betting enough to move these lines. The people who move these lines are the people that bet a lot of big money, because the Desert, they don't want to get taken to the woodshed by these guys who put up 5-6 figures a night on all kinds of games like this. This is sharp money moving this. But of course, when you see this much come in on a game in which, people, the squares will look at the Ken Palm numbers and they'll say, wait a minute, Ken Palm, Kentucky's number one. And if you look at the AP poll, Kentucky is ranked higher than Louisville. How is Louisville favored here? One of our favorite systems that I love to play is the lower ranked trap. When you see the lower ranked team favored over the better ranked team. And over the years, when that lower ranked team is favored, it hits 65% of the time, 377 up, 211 down. That includes 2-0 so far this year, including your beloved Coach Cal losing at Michigan State over the weekend. And we were on that one too. The lower ranked trap, the market moving in Louisville's favor. I'm still playing the cards here in this one.
Okay, so Brad Taylor, you have to understand, is into making money. He's not rooting for a team. He's rooting for his pocketbook. There's nothing negative. If he doesn't bet on Kentucky, he doesn't give a rat's. He's trying to make money. I don't know why I keep on explaining that every time you come on, but people still don't get it. Did you decide to bet on Louisville before this, or did this make you decide I'm betting on Louisville?
I was on this yesterday. We talked about this on the show yesterday and why I'm taking Louisville. And because it's the markets, it's the systems. But I will say this to the Big Blue Nation. If you're looking to take Kentucky, you might want to get them now. Because I'm looking at, I have a live odds screen with all the live betting odds for all the legal apps here in Kentucky. And right now you're seeing a little juice come in on Kentucky, which means if this line moves, it's going to come down to 6. It's not going to go up to 7. And even in the crazy world, I don't think Louisville could ever be a 7-point favorite in this one. So if you're looking to take Kentucky, get on him now, because if this line moves, I can promise you it's coming down to 6. I do see one book now has just flashed up that Kentucky is now only a 6-point underdog against Louisville. So, if you're part of the Big Blue Nation, you want to take the Cats tonight, act now. Do not hold your water. But if you're taking Louisville, hey, it's okay to kind of hold your water in this one. That is kind of a bounce back here. When a line gets a little bit out of a hand, eventually there will be buyback on the other side with the Sharps and the Whales trying to do something we call middle it, where you bet on both sides and kind of it lands in the middle, then you double your money, so to speak.
Oh, interesting. Real quick, Kentucky, Tennessee Tech Saturday. You're touching it or no? Give me 3 lines. Why, yes or no?
This line is 22.5 right now. This is not a game I want to look at. We talk about road dogs with low totals. That's how we usually play Kentucky against cupcake games that work the first 2 weeks of the year. But this is not a low total. Total here is 52.5. There's a lot better games on the board in college football this week than this one. And the bottom line is, do you really trust this team laying 3 touchdowns against Tennessee Tech? And yes, they are 10-0, but still, there's a lot better games on the board for me. I'll let this one roll. But yeah, interesting games coming up down the line for Kentucky because they're going to be double-digit dogs at Vandy, and they're going to be a big dog at Louisville as well. Can they get to those 6 wins? The Desert is telling us probably not.
Interesting. The bottom line is always special if you're into gambling. Brad Taylor, his show is at 2:00. Check him out if you're betting a couple shekels on anything because show's really good. His knowledge is, as you just heard, first class. Hey, dude, thank you so much for doing this on a dime. I appreciate you and what you do for the station.
Thank you so much. And, of course, may the winners be yours. Thank you.
Thanks, pal. See ya. Brad Taylor, really good stuff. Mike DeCourcy coming up in just a couple of minutes. I want to say a little plug for our friends at the Quantrill Auto Group. If you like a Subaru, they have the Outback. Wonderful car. 0% interest for 36 months. 0. And if you want to spread it out to 72, it's 1.9. What a deal. And my wife has the XC60, the Volvo, the hybrid. We're saving a bunch of money by not using gas. You get 41 miles before the gas just slips in and goes on. We've almost never used gas. We have a little bit, and it's the smoothest car we've ever had. She loves that car, loves it. So it's a Volvo, a Subaru, a Cadillac. They've got it all, and they're wonderful people. They've been wonderful to us for well past a decade getting cars from them. The Quantrill Auto Group, the family of dealerships. The right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise to get you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks. The great Mike DeCourcy coming up in just a couple of minutes. Then old friend also, as DeCourcy and I go back to the 80s, Kendrick Haskins, who was on last week, Wave TV sports director who's really good. And then down memory lane with Jerry Tipton, who covered about 1,000 of these Kentucky Louisville games just like me. So fun show lined up. Thank you so much for listening. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
So radio with Alan Cutler brought to you by Quantrill Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrill family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
This is Brent Clark with my daughter, Carlisle.
We want to help you get ready for the holidays. So if you're just headed around the block or far away, stop in, gas up, and get some yummy treats for the car. Check out our holiday specials, including Mentos or Trident 5 bottle pack gum for $3.99 or Uncle Ray's potato chips 3-ounce bags for $1.99.
So no matter where your holiday travels take you, stop in any Clark's Pump and Shop and get stocked up on holiday candy. And thank you for being a customer.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
ESPN 1300 College Game Day is live at Campus Pub with Steve Tressler and former Cats every week. 90 minutes before kickoff at Clover Field. Just steps away. Campus Pub is the closest pub to the stadium, the best place to watch the game, fuel up before the tailgate, and party after the final whistle. We'll see you there. Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Really good stuff with Brad Taylor about the betting line and how it moved. In just a couple of minutes, Mike DeCourcy will be joining us. Want to play some an OA bite, at least one, before Mike joins us. So, you know, I love this. You know how coaches say, yeah, stay off social media, get the heck off it. You know what OA is? He's so comfortable in his own skin. He's going to be himself. He handles this really well. This is such a mature comment for a lot of reasons. How he handles Louisville, how he says what Pryor said when he cursed out Kentucky, walking out of his media session with Louisville, which his coach said, I should have grabbed him and tackled him. But then his coach says, I love him for it. That's who he is. Always got to kiss up to the players, don't you? If you want your players to play for them. There's so much of that going on. Anyway, so for OA, stay off social media. What do you think? And he talks about the rivalry.
It's absolutely good. I'll go like a social mistake. It wasn't the same like the type of talk that it was way different. So it was always sure.
Do you stay off social media like completely?
It's a normal game. It's a normal game for a lot of people. So like, I'm not, you know, it's like I'm on social media. I see it on social.
If you see it all, then you see it. They said last week after your reaction to that.
I can't wait to see him. I just can't wait to see him.
Can't wait to see him. Can't wait to see him. You think, and he said that with a little smile, by the way. You think that's his way of saying, I'm getting your back? I will be surprised if there aren't at least 2 technicals tonight. And by the way, I'm not suggesting there'll be a fight. And it got feisty last year. And Brandon Garrison even said he needs to control his emotions a little bit more. And I get that. But how could it not be feisty? And I wonder, and it's fair to wonder, if the refs will call this tighter for all the obvious reasons. Because they don't want to fight. You know, this is pressure for the refs as well. I get that. You get that. Let's go to clip number 5 as we wait for Mike DeCourcy to join us in just a couple of moments. Clip number 5 from OA when he's talking about defense.
Sounding team it's like it was kind of so we got better with the cat defense.
There's OA. Stephen Peak, who did the show, was it last week or the week before? He's terrific. As a videographer, reporter for KSR, made me think last night. I complimented him on a video that he did for KSR, and he said, thank you. Then he asked me, you know, basically a moment or what I thought of the biggest moments with Kentucky Louisville. And we talked about tension. And to me, the biggest tension that I have seen with Kentucky Louisville was the first game, the dream game in 1983. And I used a picture of then Governor John Y. Brown when he split his jacket part red and part blue. And I thought about it some more. And I really believe, I didn't say it was bigger, because nothing is bigger than winning a national championship. But I think the tension that day in Stokely, the old barn-like arena in Knoxville, where it was packed and loud. I mean, it was about as loud as you can get for a game. I think the tension for that game was actually bigger. Didn't say more important, but in some ways it was. But again, nothing is like a national championship. There was more tension there than when Kentucky came back in the second half to beat Utah for the national championship. There really was. And he made me think. So, part of the deal of tonight's game is who is going to step up that you just can't predict. I mean, I wasn't surprised that Butler had a good game last year. Did I think Butler would go 10 for 10 and not miss a shot? Of course not. Of course not. That might be the best game he ever plays. And so he stepped up way out of his normal comfort zone and just couldn't miss. I mean, the bucket had to look like throwing the ball in the ocean. Somebody tonight will probably do that thing. And I tell you, the perfect person to tell us who would be the one player to surprise us tonight, because you never know. Sometimes it's someone you don't think about in the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry, would be the great Mike DeCourcy, as good as there is when it comes to understanding, pontificating, and talking about and writing about college basketball. Hello, Mike. All that big buildup, Mike is not there.
I thought Mike was there. Maybe Mike is here now.
Mike, are you there? Well, Mike has two things.
I'm here.
Oh, now you're here. Okay. I gave you a buildup that your mother would love. And then I go, Mike. I'm not going to do it twice, Mike. Trust me, it was sweet. If I must say so, Mike. There you are. If I must say myself, with me, all my modesty. How are you, dude?
I'm well, Alan. How are you?
Good. And so you're going to think this is nuts, and I know you're going to disagree with me. Well, I don't know anything. When it comes to tension, nothing is bigger than a national championship. Stephen Peak of KSR, as I mentioned, made me think about, he did a nice video thing, so I complimented him, and he said, what's the biggest thing with, Kentucky-Louisville? Just normal kind of stuff. And I went, the dream game in '83 at Stokely, when John White, you remember that picture when he wore the sports jacket, half red and half white? I really believe, I'm not saying it was more important, but I really believe that the tension in the arena was bigger than it was when Kentucky beat Utah, coming back after being down at the halftime, coming back and winning the national championship. You think that's nuts?
I don't. No, because the consequences were great. It had been forever since they played. That was before. It's hard to understand that now because we've seen this game played on an annual basis for decades now, but at that point, it had been decades since they had played.
If I remember right, without looking it up, I thought it was over 60 years, but please continue.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Obviously, the halftime or even later than that against Utah was of great consequence, and because the national championship was on the line. But Kentucky had been in difficult circumstances before with that team and with other teams, with the exception of maybe '96. They had been in difficult circumstances before and come back and won that big game or that championship or whatever. But it had been forever since they had played Louisville. And so there was great tension. I totally get that. And I can't disagree with that statement at all.
It's interesting. Louisville, their time of possession is unbelievable, less than 13 seconds. They jack up threes like crazy. They want to. Pope wants to jack up threes like crazy. Kentucky shot 28 the other night, and Pope again said it's not good enough. And I think Louisville went after more three-point shooters than Kentucky did. I'm not being negative. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
They both did a hell of a job restocking their teams. Really, both coaches did their fannies off recruiting. So not only is not nothing negative, it's just what it is. And my sense is the best thing that happened in Kentucky was Georgetown pushing them around and knocking the crap out of them because their defense has gotten better. And had they played Louisville before they got pushed around, I think the odds of Kentucky winning would be worse. And now I think they're ready to guard the three-point line, because if they don't guard the three-point line, Kentucky ain't winning tonight.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. But I expect this Kentucky team to be improved on defense. I believe that a year ago that was 53rd, if I remember the right number. It's right around that in Ken Palm defense, which is adjusted defensive efficiency. It's basically points per possession, but there's some component in there that adjusts for the quality of your opposition. And so that 53rd is not good enough. Mark would tell you that. Any coach in college basketball would, like maybe the coach in the Northeastern Conference would say, hey, that's pretty good. I'd take 53rd. But if you're in the SEC, Big Ten, Big 12, et cetera, and you're wanting to contend for a national championship, 53rd is not going to cut it. And so I expect them to be better defensively. And I expect that Mikal Brown and this really promising Louisville offense will challenge Kentucky to be better. Georgetown right now is really advanced. Among the teams in college basketball that expect to have good seasons, Georgetown's one of them that is going to arrive in November at a higher level because of their experience than some of the teams out there that are going to grow. And Louisville would be a great example of that. Louisville should be much better in February and March than they are today. If they're not, something will have gone wrong. But it's still a team with a really gifted group, well coached, and a fascinating approach to the sport that will challenge the Kentucky defense.
That's a really good point, because Georgetown looked like a veteran team early on. I'm going, what the heck? They're really good. Now, if they can improve, they might finish better than 6th in the Big East as predicted. Not that I want to go into Georgetown, but I was surprised how together, which is a credit to Cooley, who's been, as we both agree, been a wonderful coach for a long time. Let me throw this at you. Fast break points. Louisville has 209. And they have a lot of fast break points. They're really good in stealing the ball. They've got a press. I don't think Kelsey has everything that he wants to do long-term into his kids. I don't think Pope has everything he wants to do long-term with his kids. I think each coach is a step closer, but they're not there yet. And I want to see how Kentucky handles the little bit of pressure tonight.
Oh, I think that, yeah, if that press sustains, and I don't know whether it will or not. Usually when you play an elite high major opponent, you press as much as you can get away with. If it creates turnovers and creates bad shots, quick shots that don't go in, and therefore transition opportunities, both of those become transition opportunities. The steal, the turnover, et cetera, or the missed shot that's taken too quickly because it's open. You've been trained to take open threes, and then you get an open three out of the press because you broke the press. Sometimes those are dangerous because those misses turn more rapidly into fast break opportunities. So I'm not sure whether that will be decisive. It's often not in a game between two high quality, high major teams. How one presses, how one doesn't press, but it could be situationally important. If a team's behind, if a team wants to break one possession, they might throw it out there. I'll be surprised with this Kentucky team if full court pressure is consistently successful. I will be surprised if that happens. I think the ball handling for the Kentucky Wildcats should be sufficient to get them through most of the time. But it's how much you limit the mistakes, how much you limit the mental errors that you can make against pressure, and how much Louisville ultimately decides it's worthwhile to continue it.
Let me correct myself. I just screwed up. Pass break points, Kentucky is better. I got the two columns mixed up. What I've seen enough tape, though, when they press Louisville, they often gets points off the press, which can be a momentum changer. So let me apologize. I need to filter myself. Good and good, and bad is bad. I remember Brown, who everybody says is going to be a lotto pick and the highest pick on the court tonight. Our dear friend Dick Hoops Weiss saw him in high school as a junior. And I remember him telling me after he saw him, because, as you know, he's gone international to see all these kids in the tournaments around the world. What a joyful thing for a guy like him and you who loves basketball. I remember calling afterwards, this Brown kid, he's going to be a lotto pick. And so I will be fascinated to see what he does. If he's not shooting There's been times he hasn't played well, but I look at that and I don't give a rat's because this is Kentucky and he will be jacked up. And so some of the things that have happened to each team in the past, you really can't judge for tonight because they're going to have a different emotion tonight. And so we look at what happened until now, and that's nice, but it's BS because they're going to have an adrenaline rush tonight that these kids for each team hasn't had so far this season.
Yeah, and it's different playing Kansas in a exhibition game when everybody's just kind of trying to feel out what's what. What are we good at? What are they good at? How can we take away what they're good at without a whole lot of game prep because you didn't have any tape on Kansas at that point. This is different. I mean, you don't have in Kentucky, you don't have a lot of game tape, but you at least have some idea of what this team looks like from the exhibitions that were televised and from the two early non-conference games. You have some idea of what Kentucky should look like. And same on the reverse. So it will be much different for all the participants. But I will tell you that I watched Mikal Brown with the USA under 19 group in the World Cup, and he was fantastic. I thought he should have been the tournament MVP. AJ DeBonsa got it. Played very well, but they don't win that thing without Brown directing the attack, making shots. I thought he was their most important player and not their most talented player. DeBonsa by far. I get that. But I thought that Brown was the most important player in the U.S. winning that tournament, a tournament that they've lost on occasion. They've never lost at U17, but they've lost the U19s a few times because it's hard to always get your best players to compete. A lot of the college coaches say, nah, I'd rather have you here. And so in this case, Pat Kelsey said, go ahead, kick the world's tail. And he did. He was great. And so he's someone that everybody involved for Kentucky is going to have to be aware of and do a nice job against if the Wildcats are going to win.
I'm predicting safely. I'm not saying this is going to be a fight or anything like that, but I'll be shocked if there aren't at least two technicals tonight. And I'll bet the refs have been warned and they talked to themselves before about not letting this get out of hand. Yeah. Referees aren't stupid. They know that. And can I see like touchy-feely fouls, I don't know how else to put it, being called early on just to try to calm things down? You agree, disagree?
Oh, I'm not sure about whether that. I think if you call touch fouls, then you actually if you do that, you actually can increase the problems. I think you have to call the game square, but you have to be insistent about nothing over the line of physicality. Anything that flirts with it becomes problematic. I think that you have to do. But if you call touch fouls, you actually increase the frustration level of the players, and then you have a problem. So call the game square, do the right thing, but then be aware of anything that might develop into something. If you remember the 29-10 season game at Rupp, when Kentucky was pretty clearly the better team with John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, but and most of the players on Kentucky side, with not Pat Pete, et cetera, but a lot of the players on Kentucky side were new to the rivalry, but they also knew that one of the ways to win their way into the hearts of their fans is to show that, yeah, they hate Louisville just as much as their fans do, or vice versa. So although some of the players to this will either be new to the rivalry or new to college, relatively new to college basketball, I think they all know that how you play in this game is going to say a lot about your legacy as a Cardinal or as a Wildcat. So you don't back down and you don't take anything. And that's where the refs have to be aware in order to keep the lid on anything that would go over the line, from common foul to flagrant foul to ejectionable foul.
By the way, I agree with you 100%, but here's where I disagree. You should call it square, but I have seen it. So have you, when the referees did this touchy-feely thing, people often have made it worse. And sometimes I would never criticize an official, Mike. Not me. But I've seen them do it as to say, okay, let's call it straight up and tell both teams, we're calling it straight up and we're not taking any crap. You got to go. You have a last comment, and thanks for your time. I know you got to run.
Yeah, everybody enjoy the game. Remember, whatever happens, you'll be disappointed or elated tomorrow, but you still have 30 some games, and both of these teams have great horizons ahead of them. I think they both have a chance to be Final Four good. And we've seen that game in the Final Four before, too. 2012, let's not forget. It wouldn't be out of the question to see it again. They're both very gifted, and it's one of the things that I love about this rivalry, Alan, before I go, is it's played in their own buildings. It's played at Yum. It's played at Rupp. That's where most of college basketball should be. Too many games played in in non-college basketball settings. The home crowd is one of the best things that college basketball, maybe the home crowd in college basketball is the best crowd in American sports. It's just electric in a college basketball arena. You can't duplicate it in a downtown arena somewhere that doesn't host those things. So really excited that we'll see that tonight. And I hope everybody enjoys the game.
Super quick. Give me one line. What's the best rivalry in college basketball? And you're not going to say Kentucky Louisville because you're on my show. Whatever you think is all I want.
It's Duke Carolina. It's the best rivalry in American sports. You look up the stats over the last 40 years or so, and they're like separated. I haven't looked at it in a while, but they're usually separated by like 2 points.
Couple points, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, and they always matter. The Kentucky Louisville rivalry is number 2 in the sport. It's a fantastic rivalry. I've loved every time I've been there. And like I said, I hope everybody enjoys it. I wish I could be there tonight.
Bless you, brother. Get off my phone. You have an appointment that's more important. I think the world of you and your time. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Alan.
Appreciate it. Mike DeCourcy, Sporting News. Check him out all the time. Check him on Twitter. Check him with all the stuff as he quickly hit the button. He's got an appointment, and he squeezed me in, and I appreciated his time. Not a little, but I appreciated tremendously. By the way, steals per game, Kentucky gets 5. Louisville 11.5. Kentucky is 309th in America, and Louisville is 39. Now, that part doesn't bother me, or shouldn't if it's a Kentucky fan, as long as Kentucky handles the press, and I think they will. And if they do, the steals per game will be down, obviously, for Louisville, and that might negate Pat Kelsey trying a couple things. But if the press works and it throws Kentucky off a little bit, and I don't think it will, but that doesn't matter if I think it will or not. It will be important. One more thing before we go to the break. Most all-time Final Four appearances. Is it sacrilegious to say, Jimmy, that North Carolina is number 1 with 21? UCLA is second with 18. Tied for third, Kentucky and Duke with 17, then it's Kansas with 16, Ohio State and Michigan State with 10, and Louisville and Indiana with 8. And blue bloods, lots of blue bloods. I think the only blue blood not in there is UConn. They've won enough national championships, in my humble opinion, that they should be in there for that. But we all have our own opinion, and a lot of people don't like UConn because of Bobby Hurley, and that's fine. I don't give a rat's either way. It's all about, are you good or are you not good? It's a very simple formula. And here's also a simple formula. If you need some work in your house, Elliott Services, 859-255-5788. I keep on saying they were great for us, which I'm happy to talk about. And I've also said this. If somebody wants me to talk about a product and I don't like it, I'm not going to do it. I'm serious. And hopefully that gives me more credibility because I'm not changing. There's no reason to change. And so when I say someone has been good for us, it is the truth. Elliott Services, 859-255-5788. 100% employee owned with licensed background check, non-commission based technicians. The success of the job, that means the success of the company. Residential heating and air conditioning services, whatever, installation, maintenance, doesn't matter. Home generated service, including sales, installation, maintenance, repairs, whatever. Home electrical, handyman services, whatever. EV charger and installation maintenance. They did that for us. Heating and air preventative maintenance programs, voice data, Wi-Fi solutions, underground utilities, service and installation of traditional heat pump split system, gas furnitures, whatever. Electrical, renovations and fix-up. HVAC systems. My friend Chuck Ely took care of us years ago. I called him again. We needed help. He sent a crew over, and they were perfect helping out our awful system that they fixed. and it needed some work, but they fixed. We're blessed, and I'm very happy that Chuck Ely is a friend and that Elliott Services took care of us. 859-255-5788, 859-255-5788. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrell family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
This is Brent Clark with my daughter, Carlisle.
You get ready for the holidays. So if you are just headed around the block or far away, stop in, gas up, and get some yummy treats for the car. Check out our holiday specials, including Mentos or Trident 5 bottle pack gum for $3.99 or Uncle Ray's potato chips 3-ounce bags for $1.99.
So no matter where your holiday travels take you, stop in any Clark's Pump and Shop and get stocked up on holiday candy. And thank you for being a customer.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
You have to have a sense of fear, and don't say that. Don't misquote me. Don't misquote me like I'm afraid of anything. Like you think I'm afraid? Let's go to the alley. You know what I mean? So, but you have to play with a fear that way. Does that make sense? Like you have to play on edge and with a fear, with an alertness to you on defense, or you will be hurt. You know, and it happens all the time.
It's a really good comment by Stoops. By the way, he's joking, go to the alley. He's got a sense of humor back. I mean, he was upbeat and fun. It was really, really, really good. I'm actually happy for him. Like I say, I always want Kentucky to win. Did I think they would blow out Florida? Hell no. Did I predict they would win? I do. Rick Bozich. Okay. Let's do this. I need to play a bite, and then we're going to take another break to get Rick on the phone. And believe it or not, that is my bad. Let's do this. The Stoops from the caller on his coach's show, a guy called up and said his voice was hoarse, and Stoops was actually funny about that.
No, I'm still from Saturday night. Good.
John, is that the first time this year you're not hoarse from yelling at me? That's fair. I damn sure probably deserve those two.
How about that? Stoops with a sense of humor. Jimmy, is that good or what?
That tells me he's comfortable.
Yes. And I'm happy for it.
Yeah.
With all the tension that he's had and those kinds of things. So, yeah. And I'll tell you who is special. Terry Page. Terry Page. 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. A great licensed massage therapist in Butler, Kentucky on Monday and Tuesdays, in Lexington on Thursdays and Fridays. Text her or call her to get an appointment. She is special. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss.
For humanity. Republic Bank has really been a changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
This is Brent Clark with my daughter, Carlisle.
We want to help you get ready for the holidays. So if you're just headed around the block or far away, stop in, gas up, and get some yummy treats for the car. Check out our holiday specials, including Mentos or Trident 5 bottle pack gum for $3.99, or Uncle Ray's potato chips 3-ounce bags for $1.99.
So no matter where your holiday travels take you, stop in any Clark's Pump and Shop and get stocked up on holiday candy. And thank you for being a customer.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Yes, on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. We had Brad Taylor, expert on betting on the crazy change in the line from 3.5 to 6.5 with Louisville, wow, being that favorite. Then we had Mike DeCourcy, Kendrick Haskins a little bit after 1, Jerry Tipton at 1:30. And now, ladies and gentlemen, he's only in 3 Hall of Fames, 3 more than me. He should be in more. He was a great scribe. You need to write, Rick. And Rick, I need to apologize to you. I'm going to fire my secretary, and that's me. Hello, Rick. Sorry for the confusion. How are you?
You can blame me. I'm old school like you, and I forget that now it's Zoom instead of just a phone call. So I'll take some of the blame for that.
No, you can't. You can't. There's another reason. It's trust me. What an argument we're going to have, Rick. It's all my fault. Stop it. It really
okay.
It really is, but neither here nor there. Okay, so, were you at the game? You had to be in 1983, the Dream Game. You had to be there.
March 26, 1983, Stokely Coliseum. I was on the baseline sitting next to Jerry Tipton.
Wow. I'll remind Tip to that. You remember who you sat next to, and I'm sure you remember just.
I'm almost sure I sat next to Jerry Tipton on the baseline. I think it was on the end of the floor where Kentucky's bench was.
Yeah, I was on the other side, but what a great old classic sort of dumpy gin that had a lot of soul and feeling. And I said this, and DeCourcy agreed with me, and I wasn't sure he would. The tension for that game, not more important than Kentucky win the national championship or anybody win a national championship for Kentucky when they played Utah, but the tension in the game that day in 1983, because they hadn't played in, I don't remember, it was 60 some odd years or whatever, I thought was more intense than the national championship game when they won in 98.
I agree. It was off the charts because you have to remember there was a lot of push from the time Denny Crum got here in 1971 for Kentucky to play. And Coach Hall didn't ever want to do it. Coach Rupp didn't want to do it. So it didn't happen. And then the previous year, they were all set up to play in Nashville at Vanderbilt during the regional. Kentucky got upset by Middle Tennessee State with the Louisville players sitting in the stands because I sat with some of them and watched the game, and Kentucky got beat and the Dream game was canceled. So that even made the fire more intense. And then we got to the point where they both won incredible games on Thursday night in Knoxville. I believe one played Arkansas and one played Indiana. I don't remember which was which. I think Kentucky beat Indiana. I don't remember, but
That's
one
what
game
I
was
recall,
on
Rick.
Peter.
That's what I recall,
What?
but I could be wrong too.
Yeah, and you know, that was really the heyday of how good all the programs were, because Knight was in his prime back then, and Eddie Sutton was at Arkansas, and they had a real good team. So that was like epic college basketball, and they both survived, and without having any chance at all to enjoy it on Thursday night. It was, now you play each other. There's no escaping it. So yeah, there'll never be another moment like that again.
Is it sad that maybe these schools, you know, will never, when I talk about Indiana, Kentucky and Louisville will never be like it was in the good old days, because not only the quality of talent, but the personalities of the coaches? I don't see it happening. Do you?
No, I mean, two of the coaches that we're talking about are in the Hall of Fame, and you could certainly argue that Joe B. Hall deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I mean, they were all huge personalities. The programs at the time, Kentucky was 5 years off its last national title. Louisville had won one in 80 and was going to win another in 86, and Indiana had won one in 76 and 81 and was going to win one in 87. And it was around here, it was like, you knew if you were a media person, you knew you were going to go cover a team in the Final Four every year. I mean, and if you didn't go, you wondered, like, what the heck happened? I mean, they were national elite programs, and you know, now we've got interlopers like Virginia and Gonzaga and UConn and all these other schools. But Florida, back then it would have been unfathomable to think Florida would win 3 national titles before, at that point, Indiana would only win one more and Louisville would only win one more.
I like that term, interlopers. That's TV guys don't use that. That has to be a smart scribe to use that, but it's really apropos. I even wrote it down and go, why have I've never used that word once in like 50 years behind a microphone. Shows you my vast vocabulary. Do you have just a play, a game, a moment, a personality? You know, the obvious question, Rick Bozich, in 3 Hall of Fames, kind enough to join us for a couple of minutes, that kind of sticks out with a rival or a coach or something that's said, or whatever comes to your head.
Well, obviously in that game, the shot that I think was it Master made a shot to put it in overtime, and then Louisville dominated.
Yep.
In the overtime. The Cedric Jenkins tip in will never be forgotten. Samaki Walker had a triple double that one year when it seemed like Crum was never going to be able to beat UK, especially Pitino. The Rex Chapman game in Freedom Hall was unforgettable. Just, you know, when they played in the NCAA tournament and Aaron Harrison hit the shot up in Indianapolis that beat a really good U of L team that had won the national title the year before with Russ Smith. I hate to be forgetting a few, but there was a while there where almost every year there was something that you couldn't believe you saw. And hopefully it'll be that way again tonight. I just found out this morning that the line went from 3 to. What's the explanation for that?
Well, we just had on Brad Taylor, who does a gambling show after me, and I asked him, I said, are you suspicious? He goes, absolutely. But he said that 83% of the money was on Louisville, and that could easily do it, but he still was suspicious. And he said, because he's got
Kentucky had an injury or something that we don't know about. Is
that was my first thought. Do the bookies know something? And when I asked Brad Taylor about that, he brought up a game where Levis wasn't going to play off the top of his head, and the line had changed tremendously. And Stoops said, if Levis isn't playing, we will let you know. And he said, Stoops never let anybody know to this day. And the line against at South Carolina that day, boom, had a huge change. And so, honestly, my first thought, there's rumors about OA, which I can't substantiate, nor am I trying to start a rumor. I'm not going to do that. that. I can't stand that stuff unless you know something. And I can't believe just a rumor that's not substantiated would do something. But do I wonder, do the bookies, I still call them bookies, Rick, I'm sorry, I'm old school. Do the bookies, might they know something we don't? Absolutely. And you agree with that, right? But it is, when I heard 6.5, I almost didn't believe it. Seriously.
Yeah, because I've looked at the computer rankings. I think Pomeroy and Torvik and Haslam and Evan Miyakawa, and I think two of them had Louisville by 5, which is close to 6.5. But the other two had, one of them had Kentucky by 1, and the other one had Louisville by 1. So that's a big difference from 1 to 6.5. That means somebody knows something that we don't know. It makes me suspicious because, I mean, Kentucky's been equally impressive, if not more impressive, in their first 2 games as Louisville has been. And considering the way Kentucky has dominated the rivalry in recent years, for them to be a 6.5-point underdog on the road seems bizarre.
I like how you put that. Bizarre. More pressure on Kentucky or Louisville tonight? Is little brother versus big brother because little brother hasn't held their own and they're upset? Does that put more pressure on them? Or is it these Kentucky kids going into a hostile environment where it's going to be loud and crazy and obnoxious? And as long as it doesn't get too rough, lovely. I mean, those things are lovely atmospheres as long as it's within reason.
The pressure's on Louisville. You know, they've only won the game, once in, is it 10 years? I don't even remember. The 1 year, and the year they won, wasn't it the year where there wasn't much of a crowd there because it was the COVID year?
Yep.
Yeah, so they've struggled to win this. Even Pitino struggled to hold his own in this thing when he was at Louisville. You know, Kenny Payne obviously didn't win. Chris Mack won once. Louisville thinks they've got a really good team, and they do have a really good team, and they're playing at home. And I guess I default back to the time they played the last time at the Yum Center when it certainly seemed like more than half the crowd was Kentucky fans, especially in the lower bowl. I mean, they got. I remember I think it was Joe Kraft and Vince Morrow were sitting right on the floor. Louisville fans didn't want to be there, and they turned it into a heavy Kentucky atmosphere. So Louisville needs to win this game, in my opinion, to get their fans really convinced that this team is special.
Well, I look at it this way. If there was no Mark Pope and he was at BYU and Kentucky hired Pat Kelsey, Kentucky fans would be happy. I know that's blasphemy, but I think he's a hell of a coach. I think Kelsey's done a great job at Louisville. I think Pope has done a great job at Kentucky. I think they both deserve tremendous compliments. You know me, I don't give a rat's that it's Louisville, Kentucky. I respect both coaches and what they've done.
Yeah, I agree. No, both coaches were tremendous last year. Kelsey's, I thought he did a phenomenal job last year. When you look at where they came from and the way they played during the year, I mean, I thought they were underseeded by the NCAA. I know they lost to Creighton in the first game and bowed out of the tournament, but Chucky Hepburn had a phenomenal season. Terrence Edwards had a really good season. Rain Smith hit 3 after 3 after 3, and it's a really good team. This year, in many ways, is more talented in the backcourt across the line. Just hasn't played together as long and isn't as proven as that team became last year. So Kentucky is more talented, though. I think they got really more NBA. Michael Brown's going to be a lottery pick, but Kentucky's got more, in totality, more NBA players, and they got a deeper team. So, yeah, it's should be one of the better games in years, because a lot of times in recent years, I mean, I didn't really think Louisville had a chance to win, especially in Rupp. I always felt like they were beat before they even got down there. Kentucky was a better team. Louisville went in there with no self-confidence that they could win the game. By the end of the rivalry, when he was there, I think Pitino was totally beaten down by the idea of playing Kentucky in Rupp Arena. I think he gave off negative vibes, and it's better for the rivalry if Louisville wins a few more games. I know Kentucky fans wouldn't be gaga about that statement, but overall for college basketball, it's better for the rivalry if Louisville starts to hold its own.
Yeah, I don't like to agree with that, but I do from a philosophical point of view. I'm mumbling on purpose because, my audience is
Yeah, it's not a rivalry. If one team
right.
always wins, it's not a rivalry.
Right. You know what it reminds me of? Kentucky and Tennessee in football for years and years. There were 2 years. I
Yeah.
don't remember which one was first, but the combined score for 2 years was exactly, don't look it up, Rick. Trust me, I remember this, was 100-0. And when on this
I
segment,
was probably at those games.
I bet you were. But when they said it's a
And
rivalry,
you go to cover them, and you're not even excited to go cover it because you know that the team that you're covering isn't competitive, and then you're going to have to write something that you don't really want to be too negative, but you have to be honest and say this isn't a rivalry. So it's better when one team can hold its own more often, and I don't know. I just think it is. It creates more interest on TV. And tonight you're going to have the A team there, isn't it? Billis and Schulman doing the game. That's
the big boys.
They're bringing out the big guns. Schulman, one of his first games since the World Series, and Billis he likes coming here. His brother lived here for a while. I'm not sure if he still does, but that's the A team in college basketball. So they're getting. I don't like the fact that they're playing on November the 11th because I don't think the teams at this point in the season are fully formed. They're still figuring out who they are. But for whatever the reason it had to be this early in the season, I hope that reason doesn't exist in the future.
I think they will fix it. Let's put it that way. I remember going on TV back in the days when Kentucky didn't have a sniff of winning against Tennessee in football. And I said, it's not a rivalry, and here's why. And you're going to be surprised. People were actually angry at me. How could anybody get angry at something I would say, Rick?
I don't know.
Anything else about the rivalry stick out?
I just feel blessed to cover as many of the games in it that I did. With you look at the quality of the player who played in it. You look at how many Hall of Fame coaches coached in it: Pitino, Eddie Sutton, Denny Crum, Tubby Smith. It's an honor. Every time I covered that game, it was an honor to cover it. And my fondest memories is back in the day, and we've lamented this before, when you could actually go in the locker room, you got to meet some of the players and know some of the players and talk to them and really understand how much it meant to them. I can still talk to Lancaster Gordon or Milt Wagner today or Rodney McRae about what it was like to play in that game. I used to talk to Brett Barrup about it, and then you talk to some of the older guys like Griff or Jerry Eves and how much it still bugs them that they didn't get to play against Kentucky. I remember before he passed away, I remember talking to Junior Bridgman about it and how much Louisville was looking forward to playing Kentucky for the national championship in San Diego in 1975. So I'm glad it's on the schedule. I hope it always remains on the schedule, and I hope it's an epic game tonight.
Well, that's a wonderful way of putting it, that you feel blessed, and it's an honor to cover the game. I couldn't have said it better, and I absolutely I couldn't agree with you more. You gave me chills, dude. That's pretty impressive to get this old guy some chills. Either that or maybe you need another cup of coffee.
It really is. I mean, I said now that I'm not doing it anymore, I think back on how fortunate and blessed and lucky I was to cover a lot of the things that I did. And I missed when they played in the Big Four in Indianapolis. I always thought that was such a spectacular thing to go. Yep. It was always Heisman Trophy weekend. So a lot of the country's focused on football, but not around here. They could go into the RCA Dome and put 40,000 people in there to watch a doubleheader with an equal representation of fans between Notre Dame, Kentucky, Louisville, and Indiana, and watch all the great players that played in those games. I mean, I thought that was incredible. I always look forward to that. So maybe someday that'll come back too.
I love that. I remember walking on the court for the first time, and I got a chill. And looking at the strong colors for each school, there's nobody who got anybody else's section with the wrong color. And sometimes they ended up not then. And it was like out of a movie script. And the way the fans were, and they were loud and rambunctious, but not dirty.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the intensity at its purest and finest. That was just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful event. And it's too bad we can't do that again.
And you knew it was the only place in the country where they could fill a football stadium for 2 college basketball games in December. I mean, Carolina can talk about it all they want to, but you'd have North Carolina and Duke. Who would play the other 2 games? NC State and Wake Forest, maybe? But it wouldn't be the same as this was because those teams are conference rivals. These were teams all from different conferences who got together every year and showed off to the country how much they cared about college basketball. I thought it was just a spectacular event, and I'm really I was sad that it went away.
Me too. Me too. Last one real quick. Coach K wants to put the Big East and the ACC together. You like it? You don't like it? Or is this the future continuing? There'll be a couple super conferences in the hell with the little boys and everybody else.
I don't like it. You know, the ACC in my mind needs to go back to what the ACC used to be. Maryland should be in the ACC. I feel like maybe even Penn State should be in the ACC, get them out of the Big Ten, and then it doesn't fit. I mean, the Big East doesn't play football, so I don't really conferences that aren't conferences for all sports. And I know it's never going to come back, and I sound like the old guy, so nostalgic for so much of the old day, but I mean, the old Big East, when it first started, when Ewing and Pearl Washington and Derek Coleman and all those dudes were in the league, and John Thompson and Louis Carnesecca and Boeheim and whatever. I mean, the Big East was magic. And bringing in a bunch of ACC schools, the Big East doesn't really need the ACC, in my opinion. I mean, they got what they like it the way that it is now. They've kind of reestablished themselves as just a basketball league, and a dynamite basketball league at that.
2 words for you. Grandpa Bozich, you having a good time playing grandpa now that you retired? Everything good?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Had a good time watching my grandson run cross country, and they got other activities, and I'll be watching tonight. I'll be happy I won't have to pound anything out on any kind of a deadline, but it's fun to sit back and watch from a higher level, watch everything that's going on.
And not get home at 2 o'clock in the morning and still geeked up, right?
Amen. Yeah. Sit and watch. Like I watched that Indiana Penn State football game Saturday, one of the best games I've watched in a long, long time. And so I can just watch that game and enjoy the majesty of some of those plays and say, when it's over, I don't have to run down to the press box. I don't have to run back upstairs and write. And I certainly don't have to find a way to get home from State College, Pennsylvania on Sunday.
Amen. Yes, I used to cover Penn State football from Pittsburgh, and it was an awful ride in and an awful ride out. And if you had to drive further, which you did, it sucked. Hey,
worst place in America to get to.
Yeah, from was it Johnstown on, whatever the heck it is. It was one way each way, and we'd go super early, and you're stuck. And getting home,
the traffic was horrible.
Horrible. It'd be like
you don't want to drive home at night because it's dark and steer season and hilly, and no, you don't want to do that.
We didn't have any choice, and we'd be leaving 90 minutes after the game with normal post game stuff, and you couldn't get out of the parking lot.
Right.
Hey,
it's crazy.
It's nice hearing your voice. Thank you for giving me time. You sound really good. This retirement thing.
Thank you.
You sound really. You have more energy, a little more pop in your voice. Maybe it's just today, but I feel a difference at least today.
Well, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I feel better. I've recovered from my ankle injury, and yesterday the surgeon released me, so I'm back to full strength.
There you go. Bless you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Alan. Enjoy the game. Bye-bye.
I will. Bye. Rick Bozich. He's a gem. He's an absolute gem. There's no doubt about it. We're going to do this because we've taken extra breaks before. I'm going to do a quick live spot, and let's get right to Kendrick if we can do that as we're doing these things on the fly. My buddy, Ramon Carriega, Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist, Ramon Carriega. What a special dude. He's helped me tremendously. Blue Lotus Health on Versailles Road. Please use my name. Please take care of yourself. So many of you need it and say, I don't know anything about it. Trust me, it's been great for me. Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914. So we go from Brad Taylor, expert when it comes to gambling. His show is at 2 o'clock. To Mike DeCourcy, to Rick Bozich, Jerry Tipton at 1:30, and sandwiched in between another old friend. I got to do what you do. I can't. I don't have the blank guts to do because you look so much younger with a bald head. and instead of being 73, if I could look 68, I'd be really happy. Kendrick Haskins, Wave TV outstanding sports director who lives with the Kentucky Louisville thing every day of his life. Every day. He's kind enough to join us. Hello, brother. How are you?
I'm good. A severe drop off when you go from those names to me. But I'll take it.
You hold your own. Hey, I'm lucky and blessed to have everybody on. It's a good thing. You know, Bozic, I don't know if you were listening. Bozic sounds great in retirement, by the way.
Wouldn't you?
Well, I am retired and I am feeling great.
And you sound great. You look great.
Hold it.
Retirement looks good on you.
If you tell your boys in Louisville that you said I look great, you're going to be ostracized from your golf games.
No, they won't. They'll just think I'm lying.
You know what? You're right. What, did Cutler buy you lunch or something? Everybody knows it's not true. The media nonsense that goes on. By the way, I'm sure you were the same way. There were a couple different books. I don't look at all the books, but there were a couple things yesterday. I know you saw it was 3.5 points. And then this morning went to 6.5. I went, what the blank? And I was suspicious. Brad Taylor said, because he's got these screens with all, as he said, legal places to bet. I really think he probably has other things that aren't legal, but I wouldn't ask him on the air. But he's got a screen. He's got everything on it. I mean, that's what he does for a living. And I've explained to people, it's not that he wants Kentucky to lose. He doesn't give a rat's. He doesn't
care one way or the other.
He's trying to make money. Right. And even though he has said this a million times, it's maybe some people say to him, why are you betting against Kentucky? Hello, this is a business for him. I don't understand it. I understand what he does. I just couldn't do it. Neither here nor there. Were you as surprised, I'm guessing, as me when you saw it went from either 3.5 to 6.5 Louisville favorite? And that's not a lot against Louisville. I'd say the same blank thing if it was reversing Kentucky.
Yeah, to move 3 points overnight is crazy. I'm like, what do they know? What happened? Who got hurt in practice? That's the first thing that goes through my mind.
Mine too. So we all had the same thought, but I don't want to speculate.
Right.
And there were times, and Brad Taylor thought of this right away, and I had forgotten until he mentioned it again. There was a game when Kentucky was playing South Carolina. Levis was the quarterback, and all of a sudden, somewhere during the week, the point spread, boom, changed from 4 to 11 or 11 to 4, whatever it was a huge change. And there were rumors about him. And Stoops says, if he's not going to play, we'll let you know. And his line was, to this day, he never said if he was going to play or not. He didn't play. And the line changed. And they knew before the public knows. They often have a way of finding things out. It's been like this going back to the 1940s and even beforehand. They have ways of tapping into sources that they shouldn't be able to, but you know what? More power to them. It's their business. They do. I wonder what some of the help is in return. I really have always wondered that. It's fair to wonder that kind of thing. But the point is, that's a huge change. Now, one more thing. He said 83% of the money was on Louisville. When we talked, it was right at about 12.05. And he said, it looks like more money is coming into Kentucky. So he said, it's not going to go back to 3.5. He said, but it wouldn't be surprised if it goes down to 6. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's got to drop a little bit because people are going to jump all over getting 6.5 for Kentucky. And so yeah, people are going to jump all over that. It's going to drop a little bit. I think it may drop down to 6, maybe 5.5. Me, as somebody who's just a casual, when I see, I'll bet things here and there. When I see that, I'm like, you know what? Let's stay away from this one.
Interesting. I thought you were going to put, whether it's $10 or something like that, because the line had changed so much that even if you think Louisville's going to win, you might say it's going to be a tight game. So I'll throw $10 on the 6.5 points.
Well, for one, I don't bet anything more than $5 anyway.
Okay.
But
and
I tend not to bet on our teams anyway, because for one, because I see them every day, and so they scare me. So I'm like, I'm not putting no money on these kids.
What do you know about the threat to Braum?
Yeah,
and the racketeering.
Yeah, apparently there's some guy based in Texas who had an $80,000 wager on the game, is the figure I heard. To which I'm like, why are you betting $80,000 on kids? And so he threatened Jeff, his family, his brother, and because because when I pulled up to U of L yesterday morning, because what U of L did yesterday, they brought Kelsey, they brought the volleyball coach, and they brought football all at once at the football facility yesterday. And I pulled up and I saw a cop car out there. And I saw it and I was like, that's kind of weird, but I didn't think anything of it. And so that news came out about the threat around 5:30 yesterday. So I'm guessing there was a precautionary reason why the cops was there.
I went nuts yesterday to the point my throat is sore today about screaming about these people who chirp and go after players and their families on a gamble thing. We had the situation here. This kid's name is Garrett, where you know the story where he jumped at Zach Calzada, and Calzada then sent a direct video, which was stupid. And then it went out there viral, and I thought he should have been at least suspended, if not kicked off the team. Stoops does what Stoops does, and he says, you know, it's a lesson learned, whatever. And then it's interesting how Zach didn't get in the game. Bo Allen did, and I was really happy. This is not a shot against Zach, but Bo Allen, I think he should have played last year, and I think Kentucky would have won a couple more games in all probability. Neither here nor there. Local kid, great kid. He's a really good quarterback, by the way, and he could have gone all kinds of places and started, but you know, Stoops wanted them in here, and he came back for his last year. He's kind of like an assistant coach, neither here nor there. But when you look at that, and then Stoops chomped on the people that go after these kids, there's no place for it, and that kind of thing. And I went crazy yelling the fact that if you're betting $5, $10, whatever, take your loss like a man or a woman. I'm screaming, but shut the blank up and don't go after these kids. And this is terrible. And it's going across. It's not just Kentucky, it's all across the country.
All across the board.
The guy Schilt, the guy, the skipper for San Diego, lifelong baseball dude. He was so ecstatic he got a second chance to be a manager. He wanted to manage in San Diego till the cows came home, and he quit because of the threats to his family. This is just it's past disgusting, and I don't know how do you fix this crap.
I don't know how you fix it either, because a lot of it's gambling. I mean, you've been at these games. Sometimes these fans are just crazy, and so I don't know what, because like it feels like over the last maybe 10 years or so, like the fans have gotten a lot more vicious towards the players and coaches at games with their vitriol towards them. I don't know what it stems from, but it just seems like it's just gotten a lot more aggressive over the past about decade or so. And I don't know why, and I don't know how you fix it.
Well, I think it's all social media, don't you think?
A lot of it is social media. But like even at the games, like some of the stuff I hear at games, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And it's like these fans getting so emboldened. I'm like, because you think these players can't do anything. And like while I don't condone violence, I can understand why these players like, you know what? I'm still 6'8", and you're not. And so there's a lot of these things these fans will say, especially on social media, they say to players, even they say to us, they would never say to our faces, and they won't say to these players' faces, but they get on social media and they get their Twitter muscles, and they just say any kind of wild thing they want.
Oh, I'm going to steal that.
What, the Twitter muscles?
Yeah, that's really good.
I actually got that one from Drake.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sure Drake would like to write a theme song for my show. What do you think? Should I call him up and ask him?
I mean, he needs something to save face right now.
Oh, I wouldn't even know what that is. Let's not get into it. Yeah, but as well as you know me, do you think I'm in that world?
I know.
Yeah. At least I thought you were going to say you were proud of me that I knew who Drake was.
Well, I was surprised, but then I remembered you were still working when Drake was following UK around.
Right. And when he was here.
Yeah.
And he couldn't hit a shot. He was as good of a basketball player that he is. Wasn't that really bad?
It was awful.
Talk about not dealing with pressure well. Matter of fact, when he airballed that shot at Rupp Arena, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going, this guy performs, probably in front of millions across the world. And
he's out of his element. But that's one of those things, though, where going in, you can't shoot. So just stick to layups, because you can't shoot. Because that was so bad. It wasn't like he froze. No, that form, everything. He knows he cannot shoot that shot. Just go in there and shoot some layups and be done with it.
If they asked me to shoot a free throw for charity, I would say, just make a donation, because it's not gonna. I probably wouldn't hit the rim.
If I had some warm ups, I'd be fine. But like cold, no, I couldn't either.
No, really quick. I ever told you, Doug Flynn, obviously, right? His dad, Bobby, was a great athlete in the day. Matter of fact, he played on a Lexington team. He was the only white guy on the team, and they played against Hank Aaron when Aaron was so young. I know you know the story when he used to hold the bat the wrong way, which you have to have ridiculously strong wrists. He just didn't know how to hold the bat. And he was a scratch golfer. He would shoot his age in the 70s. He was a great athlete.
Yeah.
And so he would always be on the floor of Rupp and took care of the media and stuff like that. And he always had some candy in his pocket. He'd come around and give him that kind of stuff. And this was in between live shots. He was there early. And I don't know what I said to him. We were good buddies. Bobby was friends with so many people. And I said, you old guys can't shoot two-handed set shots. I never saw him do this. All the gazillion times we talked, just, give me that ball. Okay. And he takes his jacket, nicely puts on the side, goes back probably about 10 feet from inside half court. Doesn't take a warm-up. I'm looking at him going, what are you doing? And I told him later, with love in my heart, I'm going to say he won't give you to get close to the rim. I swear to you.
Nothing but net.
Swear, nothing but net. We don't have video of it. There was nobody there. I should have told my photographer to shoot, which you would have done. I didn't ask whatever. When I asked him to do another one, he said, what are you, crazy? Nothing but net.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if he could have done it in front of 20,000 people, but you know who that is. Okay. Who wins tonight and why? And do you think it means more for Louisville because they've been the little brother and they need to show that, Kelsey's done a great job. Pope has done a great job, but they need to establish the fact that they can fight with Big Brother and they can beat Big Brother and hold their own.
Yeah, I think they need to show it because it's been a while since they've won that game. Haven't won it since COVID. And so they need that win. I think it would be huge for Kelsey. It would be huge for the respect around the nation to finally win that game. I give them the edge, but really and truly, to be honest with you, the only reason I'm giving them the edge is because they're at home. It's Kentucky's first road game early in the season with a lot of young guys on that team. And that's going to be a crazy crowd because Louisville got that under their belt because that Kansas crowd it actually took Michael Brown. It took him by surprise. He was nervous because of the atmosphere for the Kansas exhibition game. So now they have that under their belt. And so that's the only reason why if this game was in Rupp, I'd say Kentucky's going to win. It's just because of who's at home.
I'm going to give it 100-1 odds. You ready for this? That somebody, if Kentucky loses, will write a story online, whatever, say it on TV, that this $22 million team is overrated.
They were saying that in the first couple of minutes of their first game the other day.
But you know what? But at that point, it's totally superfluous. I think it's still superfluous now, but because if you lose the game, it'll pop up more. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
There were people saying it was over. They were overrated before the season started. They spent money on their bench.
I saw someone post that first game. I was out shooting something because I wasn't watching, and I just was checking social media to see how the game was going. And it's like this team can't guard and they can't shoot. Guess what the score was? 4-2.
Seriously?
I'm not making that up.
Oh my gosh. Here's a rhetorical question. What the blank is wrong with people?
I mean, people need to put their phones away during games because they're so emotional, especially the most emotional fans, because they are cussing the team up and down if they give up a basket or one turnover or whatever. The other team, because it's not like the other team has good players, Alan. It's just Kentucky's fault that they're losing.
Oh yeah, I think both teams got really good players. There's a reason they're at Kentucky. There's a reason that they're Louisville. Let's put it this way. I've been saying for about 3 days, I do not believe this game gets played without. I'm not saying there's a fight. I'm not. I don't say it. I don't believe it. You don't know what emotion is going to happen. That's not where I'm coming from. There's no hidden message. I can't believe this game will happen without at least 2 technical fouls. You think I'm nuts?
I mean, we have Brandon Garrison and Kason Pryor going against each other. Yes, there's going to be technical fouls in this game. That's what they do. I mean, Brandon had one last game.
So which one of the two or which team, And folks, this goes on. I got a great Kentucky story, and if we'll get into that, Kentucky's done it to other teams too. Back Kentucky and Auburn, I was there. They purposely went after Charles Barkley to get him out of the game, and they did. I was there a long time ago. So everybody's guilty of this, and it's really not that much of a guilt. It's gamemanship.
That's gamesmanship. That's what you do.
So which team would be more apt to have quote unquote gamemanship to tick off the other team and try to start something? Now, I know you got to be careful, but screw the careful part. You live Louisville 365 days a year.
No. Oh, it's going to be Case and Pryor. I mean, he already started it with his comments after the game against Jackson State. And so, yeah, it's going to be Case and Pryor being an irritant. And he kind of had that reputation coming from South Florida. And the funny thing is, you talk to him off the court, he is funny and he's a nice kid, but he still has that in him, even when you're just talking to him. He's just a very passionate, beats to his own drum type of dude. And so he'll be an irritant, and he knows, I'm sure, that Brandon Garrison can have a short fuse sometimes. And so that's going to be the target. And vice versa. Kentucky knows he's got a short fuse. And so, because like Oweh is one of those guys, he has that fire, but he's not gonna start anything. Now he'll finish it, but he's not gonna start anything. Another sneaky player that can be an irritant for Louisville that's fun, is hilarious that he is, because he's the nicest kid away from the court. And when you interview him, he's super polite. Javon Hadley, because he's a nice kid, but every time there's something going on the floor, Javon Hadley's in the middle of it. So, so those are the guys that kind of keep an eye on.
So if I'm saying there's going to be at least two technicals, what do you say? Kendrick Haskins, outstanding sports director of Wave TV, old friend.
It'll be though. I mean, the betting line favorite's got to be Garrison and Pryor.
But do you believe there'll be technicals tonight?
Oh yeah.
More than two?
Right. I don't think more than two. I think they'll settle down. It'll be early on, I think. And they'll settle down and play ball. Both coaches rein their guys in. And I mean, because like Garrison can be crazy, but Pope reins that in all the time. And it'll be the same with Kelsey.
Mike DeCourcy had a good point, and then I disagree with the point and why, and then he agreed with my disagreement. And here's the thing really quick. So, I believe the probability is overwhelming that the refs they're not stupid. They'll be sensitive to this, and I think they're going to call it tighter to try to show, hey, boys, hey, men, guess what? We ain't putting up with this crap. DeCourcy said, and I agree with DeCourcy, but here's where I disagreed. No, the best thing for the refs to do is to play it straight up, because if you're soft, then that really gets the team that gets a foul call, it gets them ticked off. And I said, Mike, you're right, but that's not how refs are often. He said, yeah, I agree.
I agree, because especially early in the season, that's the other thing about this game being played so early in the season, is they have their focus points early in the season. And so, they call a lot of fouls early on in the season, regardless of who's playing, regardless of a big game or not. But they do call things tighter early in the season because they have their focuses, and they kind of dwindle on as the season goes on. So I think you're going to see a lot of fouls called in this game. I think this game's probably going to last forever.
I was just thinking midnight. No,
not that late, but like that Kansas Louisville game lasted. It was almost a 3-hour game. That's an exhibition game. And
that's awful.
Yeah. And so this game, I think, is going to be a lot of fouls. I think a couple people will probably foul out of this game. And this is going to be crazy.
Okay, so to clear this up, was it a racketeering charge from somebody in Texas to Brom, his family, and the quarterback?
Yes. Yes, there's a racketeering. I don't know about with the quarterback. Well, he got threats, but they got a bunch of threats.
So Brom, his family, and Moss, the quarterback, were threatened.
Yes.
Whew. Is this going to end up in the courts?
I would imagine this guy's he's going to probably face some time because it's terroristic threatening.
Yeah. Whew. It's awful. It's awful. Bless you, brother. You got something silly to say to lighten up the mood? If not, get the hell off my phone.
I will share one of my favorite stories ever at the UK U of L basketball game.
Please.
I was a kid. I was 11, 12, somewhere in there. It was the game where Rex Chapman went for 1,000 at Freedom Hall. We're leaving the game, and there's a big drunk Louisville fan and a small, tiny drunk Kentucky fan meeting in the hallway at Freedom Hall. They get in a fight. They're getting into it. The Kentucky fan throws his beer in the guy's face, hits him, not very hard, but hits him, and runs away laughing like Daffy Duck. Remember Daffy Duck? Runs away doing. One of my favorite stories ever in a UK U of L basketball game.
People are nuts.
They're crazy. It's not new that people are crazy. It's just it's more amplified with social media.
And you saw it all.
I was right there.
Too bad.
My dad and I were cracking up laughing.
Oh, I bet you were. I didn't realize you were alive when Rex Chapman played. Get off my phone, Kendrick. Tell everybody how to check you out on social media and when you're on Wave TV.
I'm on Wave Monday through Friday and some Saturdays at 6 and 11, and of course on Instagram I'm Kendrick Haskins, and on Twitter just at Kendrick Haskins.
Hey, 2 words for you. Bless you, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, we'll see you.
I can't believe he said something nice about me. He'll regret that. Jimmy, he'll regret it, don't you think?
Yeah, I think once he thinks about it.
No, he has a perfect cover-up story. It's really good. All this lovely day with we have great guests all the time, but we are packed, wall to wall. And it's been a whole lot of fun. Jerry Tipton is coming up next. And don't forget, if you need some work done in your home, electrical services, Elliott Services. They are special. Chuck Ely took care of me now twice. 859-255-5788. We needed work to fix our horrible system. It was dangerous. And he had his crew come in, and they took care of us for our SUV that my wife loves, that we got from Quantrell, the Volvo, the VC60, and we are rocking and rolling. And thank you for them coming in. And I trust them. Elliott Services, 100% employee owned with licensed background check and non-commission based technicians. The success of their job is the success of the company. Anything you need, residential heating and air, home generator services, home electrical handyman, EV charger installation and maintenance, heating and air preventative maintenance, voice data, Wi-Fi solutions, underground utilities, HVAC service and installations, electrical renovations, whatever it is, Elliott Services is the place to go. 859-255-5788. They're all over the place. Check them out. 859-255-5788. More going down memory lane with Jerry Tipton coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment.
Six 2771 to see if auto owners insurance makes sense for you.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru, the package special. So check this out. 0%. That's right. 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrell family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and gimmicks.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank, time to thrive. Member FDIC.
This is Brent Clark with my daughter, Carlisle.
We want to help you get ready for the holidays. So if you are just headed around the block or far away, stop in, gas up, and get some yummy treats for the car. Check out our holiday specials, including Mentos or Trident 5 bottle pack gum for $3.99, or Uncle Ray's potato chips 3-ounce bags for $1.99.
So no matter where your holiday travels take you, stop in any Clark's Pump and Shop and get stocked up on holiday candy. And thank you for being a customer.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google. Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. And now, gentleman in the Hall of Fame who knows Kentucky and Louisville like the back of his hand. Your book, Jerry, is called
Deja Blue. Sports writer reflects on 41 seasons of covering Kentucky basketball.
Thanks for your time. I want to make sure we got a plug in for you. Rick Bozick says he thought that in 1983 in the Dream Game that you guys sat next to each other at Stokely.
I don't remember that exactly, but I certainly remember that game. If he said that, and then he has a better memory than me.
He went, I think so, and then he backed off a little bit. Maybe you sat close to each other and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it's interesting that because I said to Rick, I said, I'm sure you were there. He said, yeah, I sat, on by the Kentucky side next to Tipton. So just thought I'd throw it out there. People remembering and stuff like that. And here was my take that DeCourcy agreed with, and he agreed with. Now you'll disagree with me, of course. That nothing is more important than winning a national championship. We all know that, but the tension at Stokely that day with John My Brown, you remember the half red, half blue sports jacket. The tension in that game at that arena at that time was greater than Kentucky coming back in the second half and beating Utah for the national championship. Agree?
Oh, yeah, it was absolutely an unbelievable atmosphere. And even before the actual game started, just seeing Kentucky and Louisville teams on the same court warming up was startling because, as you know, there had been several years of trying. Louisville was publicly lobbying to start a series, and Kentucky was resisting it. And the only way they could play at that time was in the NCAA tournament. And here we were in Knoxville, Tennessee, of all places. And, it was just a surreal feeling even before the game started.
You could cut the tension with it like it was a cake with a knife without the cake. I don't think up to that point in my career I'd ever experienced anything like that. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it was different. It was distinctive for sure. And all of that buildup played into that.
Sure.
And of course they were two really good teams too. And so that's always going to add to it. But just that history of Kentucky, Louisville, and Denny Crum, the coach, publicly lobbying for it, and Kentucky with Joe B. Hall as the coach, publicly lobbying against it, just made for, I remember thinking it was like Israel and Hamas were going to play. And it was just seeing them on the same court. What? Could this be possible?
I look at it this way. Sports is live theater at its best with the really good games. Then there are boring games or whatever, but that was live theater. That was like a Broadway show opening night with great anticipation for the stars and superstars that were coming out and tickets. Can you imagine what tickets would have cost today if today they were playing and they hadn't played in whatever it was, 60-something years? I mean, it might cost you over $1,000 just to sit in the Bob Uecker seats.
Well, another thing that I haven't probably thought about enough is that Stokely was a smaller arena.
Yep.
And I think I prefer smaller arenas because the crowd seems closer and they're more involved, and there was so much emotion in that game anyway. And then the crowd's right there on top of it, just added to the tension. I hate to use the word tension, but I felt a certain tension in that game.
Yeah, I'm using tension. Do you have a word that's better or stronger? You tell me, Jerry Tipton, Hall of Fame sports writer covering Kentucky for 1,000 years. Sorry for dating you, Jerry, but it was about 1,000 years. Me too.
Yeah, more or less, rounding off. No tension, high anxiety, whatever you want to call it. I mean, everything was dramatized, over-dramatized. And one thing I remember, my media seat was near a baseline, and the ball went out of bounds, and in a perfect world, they couldn't inbound the ball from where it went out because there was a television cameraman there. And the ref wanted the cameraman to move, and he wouldn't move. He wouldn't. And so they had to adjust and inbound the ball, down a little bit from there. And I don't know why I remember that, but I do. And it's sort of, to me, added to that feeling of this is different. Everything is different about this game.
It's interesting. I don't remember that, Jerry, but if that happened today, the referee would have the camera guy move. It's how the media strength has dissipated as time has gone on.
Well, if you remember, they were supposed to play this. Well, they could have played the season before. They were in the '82 NCAA tournament in Nashville, if I remember right. Kentucky played Middle Tennessee in the first round.
Yep.
And if Kentucky won, they would play Louisville in the second round. So we were all, obviously anticipating that. And Middle Tennessee State beat Kentucky 50-44, which, I don't know. That was a disappointment just because it was so much looking forward to that Kentucky-Louisville game, which we got the big payoff on that the following season.
I thought it was a lock. I'm sure you did too, that Kentucky was going to play Louisville. And Kentucky, I sat courtside. I'm sure you did too, back in the days when you could sit courtside. I mean, right on the court. It was a beautiful thing. And Kentucky got so tight. I was sitting next to the late, great Ralph Gabbard, who ran Channel 27 forever and built him into a power. And I can't use the exact words that he used. Remember, it was his coach's show and stuff like that. But he had an expression he used, let anybody use their imagination about how tight Kentucky was. He couldn't believe how tight they were, and they were. And I think, look, everybody chokes. And I thought on that day, Kentucky chokes.
They're human.
Chokes. Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
human.
Players are human.
Yeah.
Right.
And that doesn't degrade the guys on that team. They were great players and wonderful people and all that kind of stuff. But, Lee Trevino once told me when he was here in Lexington, we were talking and he mentioned the word choke. And I jumped in and said, hey, Lee, does that mean when you win a tournament, you choked? And I wasn't expecting this answer. I will never forget it. He said, when I win a tournament, I just choke less than everybody else.
Well, it's funny that, it was a high tension. Kentucky lost 50-44, and I'm looking at an old media guide right now, and I believe that's the second fewest points they scored all season. And I don't remember this game, but earlier in December, they won at Notre Dame 34-28. And this was before the shot clock. So there must have been some holding the ball and so on. I don't know. But that's what the media guide has.
Wow.
But I think the low – go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't remember I think I was at that Notre Dame game, and because Digger was still coaching. And boy, was he obnoxious. I just don't remember that score or being that. I wouldn't remember the score, Jerry. Let's be real. But the temperature being that low with the count, that I just don't remember it.
Yeah, I don't either, and I should. Just the overtime score, 34-28. Kentucky won, according to the media guide. I don't remember that game, and I feel like I should have. How in the world can you have an overtime game and the teams combined for 62 points? But anyway.
Who did they play one year? It was Cincinnati, I think, when Yates was the coach, and he wouldn't shoot the ball. And I did not go to the game, thank goodness. And I had a little black and white TV on my desk, and I'm screaming at the TV because I can't stand that stuff. And
yeah, that's one good
lowest scoring game in decades.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they have the shot clock to where you play. And, I mean, it was what it was back then, and you anticipated holding the ball and all of that stuff. But, I'd rather have, action.
So at everybody, what else sticks out in your mind with the personalities, a game, a shot, the full of lovely characters on both sides?
You mean that game in '83?
Or any game. Could be 83.
Or any game. Well,
any game in the rivalry that floats your boat.
Well, I'll tell you, the game with in '83. I remember this after the game, going to the post-game press conference. I saw Joe B. Hall's wife, Catherine, and she and Billy Reed, who was then a columnist at the Louisville Courier-Journal, were standing outside the entrance to where the post-game press conference would be. And I naively thought, oh, that's kind of sweet. Billy's consoling her after a tough loss. Well, I found out that actually she was berating him because he had been writing about, and advocating that Kentucky and Louisville have a series. They start playing in the regular season, which Kentucky was definitely against. And so afterwards, I'm thinking that seemed newsy to me, that a coach's wife was accosting a media person after a game. So I'm debating whether to do something or not, and if I do, what do I do? And so I ended up, it was kind of a compromise. I did a note. I used to do sidebar notes in addition to the game story. And I just did a short note, no big headline or anything on it, about that confrontation, if you want to call it that I saw. Well, Joe B. Hall was not happy with me after, and the next time I saw him, he just basically said something to the effect of, I could write whatever I wanted to about him and be wrong like I usually was from his point of view, but leave his wife out of it. And I just kind of, the thought crossed my mind, she put herself into it. And what moved me to write something was that everybody saw it. It happened right with the entrance to the post-game press conference. So, if it's out there and other people have it in the media, what would my boss say if I did not have it? That was what kind of motivated me.
That makes sense. And I remember that, but I did not witness it. And I was really ticked off that we didn't get back there. We had some TV stuff to do, that we didn't get back there in time to get it. Because if I had the pictures of it, I would have used it. And I heard about it. And I'm ashamed to say I left it alone because I didn't know enough about it. And I talked to 4 or 5 people and everybody was climbing up. Yeah, there was something, this, that, and the other. And I didn't get enough. And we were on deadline. No excuses, but I should have done something. And I did not. So you did more than I did, but you witnessed it. And I did not. Right. One of those things. By the way, I just looked this up. December 10th, 1983. Jerry, you ready for this?
I hope.
Kentucky 24, Cincinnati 11.
Wow. Yeah, I see that. And when you say that, my immediate thought is maybe that was a football game. But anyway, yeah, that's a different world back then.
It was. And that helped push, as they're putting in this note, the 45-second clock back in 1985. That was just disgusting. That was just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Jerry, you got any other thoughts about the series before we say goodbye? And always appreciate your time, dude. And I hope you're happy in retirement.
Yes, I am. Another game that stands out is in the 86-87 season. I'm sure you remember it. Kentucky won by 34 points at Louisville, 85-51, and Rex Chapman had a big game. I don't know the numbers, but Eddie Sutton in the post-game press conference was, I may be wrong, but I think he referred to Rex as his son, playfully saying, he was going to adopt him after a performance like that. And that game stands out in my mind, too.
Actually, I wasn't there.
They all do to some degree.
Yeah. I remember looking at the highlights after I moved back to Lexington, but I was not there, and his dunk was just absolutely ridiculous. Jerry Tipton, longtime scribe, Lexington Herald leader, in the Hall of Fame where you belong for pounding stories for all those years. Give a quick plug for your book. And, Jerry, hopefully during the season, if you got time, I'd love for you to come back again. Give a plug for your book.
Well, I'll come on anytime you want me to, Alan, and I always enjoy being on. Yeah, Deja Blue, a sports writer, reflects on 41 seasons of covering Kentucky basketball, and it was a lot of fun to do. A lot of anxiety because I'd never done a book before, but a lot of memories and, things that happened over a 41-year period. So it was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for your thoughts going down memory lane.
Take care, Alan.
See ya. Jerry Tipton, really good stuff. Yeah, I remember that. We heard so many things about what happened between Catherine Hall, Joe B's wife, and Billy Reed, and she did not like Billy. And Joe B did not like Billy. Billy was a great writer, but a lot of people thought, with good reason, that he was biased towards Bobby Knight. But he was a great, great, great writer, one of the top writers of his generation. He could have written anything. And he was William F. Reed, Jimmy. William F. Reed in Sports Illustrated, and he would write those long features, and it was like you'd read his column, and then you'd read his long feature in Sports Illustrated. It was like two different writers. I mean, he could flat out write. What a day, what a day, what a day. Kentucky, Louisville tonight. We started with Brad Taylor, who's coming up next, talking about the gambling, how it's gone from 3 or 3.5 to 6.5 overnight. That was crazy. Mike DeCourcy, one of the all-time greats with sporting news. Rick Bozich, one of the all-time greats who's now retired. And Jerry Tipton, one of the all-time greats. We got three men who are writers in all kinds of Hall of Fames, and sandwiched in between my friend Kendrick Haskins of Wave TV. It was really, really good. Enjoy the game. I have no idea how the hell I'm watching it because I'm not a big fan of Google TV. It's just ticking me off, and I don't want to switch to Hulu. I don't know what the heck to do, but I'm going to find a place to watch it. Thank you so much. Appreciate you tremendously. Brad Taylor coming up next. Jimmy, as always, I appreciate you. If you missed the show, the podcast will be up in just a couple of minutes. It is absolutely worth listening to, and I really appreciate so many more and more people listening, whether it's live anywhere in the country or on podcast. Thank you so much.